What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Messiah's Court, Messiah Stadium. You know what I'm saying? We here, Messiah's Arena. Look at that. Look at the lights. Look at the lights. Messiah's Court. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Anyways, we here to talk some college football. A big college football weekend, y'all. Huge. Brian Kelly got fired. Too many jobs. Not many coaches for those jobs. It's too many problems in the college football world, which I love. So much drama, which a lot of people might not like. The old college football fans. Let's get into that a little bit before we get into this first take, Stephen A, because they don't know shit about what's going on in the college football world. Let's get that clear before I get into this video. Um, but yeah, man. So much drama in the world, like so much college football drama, like the NFL. I wish I was kind of old fan before this new era of college football. I don't, cause I didn't grow up in that era. I guess that when Dabo was in there, Steve Spurrier. I'm just learning about him, like YouTube blocking me from some research and all the clips about Steve Spurrier and all the lore. I guess about what he's done in the SEC and I grew up in the Saban era. Him just dominating everybody and. But I want to learn more. John. I'm a SC fan, so I'm learning about John McKay and Lynn Swan's like my favorite receiver. I love the old time receivers. I mean, just old time players in general. Like Walter Payton was my 34 was my favorite jersey number because of Walter Payton. Like being named Sweetness and playing football, homie. Like gotta be a different type of cat. Do that, you know what I'm saying? So the love, like, man, sweetness, come on, man. But yeah, like the old players, I just love like the history of the game pretty much and everything like that. But yeah, like this new era, man, like this NIL era, it might be deterring some of the fans from college football. They might go to NFL, might go to a different sport because these players are like moving around and coaches are moving around. It's not the same. What does Oklahoma State fans look like? What is because maybe Mike Gundy was their guy for so long because that's how I felt about Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. I'm a Seahawks fan, and when Pete Carroll left, like when they got rid of him, I'm like, dude, do you see what he does in the second and third round? I mean, in the later rounds, like he drafts well in the later rounds. You don't think he has it still? I mean, we kind of seeing that now, I guess. Yeah. And don't. But I mean, his move from Seattle, that hurt me, and that might hurt a lot of college football fans. Like moving. I want Lincoln Riley. I don't know. I don't want him. I don't want to say gone yet, but we're getting there. If he doesn't win in Eugene, I mean, he's got a big one Saturday, Nebraska. So we'll see what he does there. But yeah, it's a crazy world of college football. We got no one talking about Ohio State. They're killing everybody. They got Penn State, so the eyes will be watching on Saturday. I mean, it's just when you watch Penn, like you don't want to watch a beating. I mean, NFL is just like that every Sunday too, and it's hard to watch those games. So when it's just like 13-30, or like 13 to like 27, or the Dolphins versus like the Bills or something like that, the Jets versus the freaking Vikings. Like we know what's gonna happen, bro. Like, well, Vikings now suck, but you know what I'm saying. Like good team, like the NFL is just really different from good teams and bad teams. Where the college football, like a bad team, might get you. It might get you on a Saturday, So, um, yeah, like I just hope, me personally, um, I think this is a great era. Like I love college football right now because NFL is not really delivering, but I think college football will be fine with the eyes and everything. I think NFL fans will. draw more to college football because NFL's I feel like just dying as a product because the young like you don't know what's gonna happen to these young quarterbacks and like the NIL and like players might retire early because they already have their money. So it's just like, okay, this if this is where they're putting all their effort in, I'm gonna go watch college football. So if that's where the effort's being put in, so that's how I feel about the NFL. Like players are just not gonna give their full effort because they're already making their NIL bag. So you're gonna see a lot of 4 year guys. I don't know, a lot of 7 year guys in the NFL, maybe, but those dogs, they're always gonna be dogs in the NFL that are gonna stay. Jamar Chase and all those boys, like the wide receivers, are dogs. They'll have 7 years or whatever. But yeah, like I don't know, like people really don't want a legacy no more. Like we gonna have like 5 year Hall of Famers in the 2040 or whatever. So it's gonna be crazy, but yeah, I guess Stephen A. has some thoughts because they made him talk about Brian Kelly and stuff. This is gonna be a hard watch, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I don't hate Stephen A. when he talks about college football, but he's not very knowledgeable. Um, yeah, this might be a little rage bait. I ain't gonna lie. Shit, we gonna see. I mean, it's not. I don't know. This shit gonna kill me because I watched First Take and I mean, there's a lot of good. Shout out Pete Thamel. He does his job. Keeps. I love professionalism. They keep it on First Take and everything like that. But who else? Greg McElroy. Mm, Jim, Joel Klatt. I used to listen to Joel Klatt a lot. Now it's kind of hard to. Kirk Herbstreit. He good. A lot of people good. College Game Day. All those guys. So we'll get into what Stephen A. Oh, good Lord. You gotta add. You gotta wait for that. Yo, my bad.
Season ranked ninth, and Kelly started with
We
high
in.
expectations, and it ended last night in disappointment. LSU came into the season ranked ninth in the AP poll and got as high as 3 before plummeting
Hey,
in
Molly
losses
ain't
to
there
Ole
no more,
Miss,
y'all.
Vandy, and most recently a blowout loss to Texas A&M. The school then informed Kelly of their intention to move on from him yesterday. Kelly is the latest big-name head coach to be fired this season, following James Franklin from Penn State, Billy Napier from Florida, and Mike Gundy after 21 seasons at Oklahoma State. Paul Feinbaum joins us now with all the details on this. Welcome in, Paul. I mean, Brian Kelly is owed a bit more than $54 million in his buyout. Was this the right decision for LSU?
It was for a lot of.
Brian Kelly. I mean, shout out Pine Ball and everything. Brian Kelly goes on his podcast every week. I guess he's not gonna do that no more, obviously. But shout out Paul. He do his job. I listen to Paul's show sometimes. It'd be funny the caller that they have in, because those Southerners, when it comes to football, they do not play. As you saw, the governor got involved with LSU, so football is very different when it comes to the South. You already know that. Um, but good Lord, Cam Newton, he gotta stop with the giving names of people. I get it, but good Lord, just talk ball. He be calling Baker, Bartholomew, whatever, bro. Just talk ball sometimes. Like they be trying to. I be seeing this with Stephen A. and all them. They be trying to do the antics more than talk ball, bro. Like I can't. We gotta stop that. We gotta stop the antics and all that, bro. Just talk the X's and O's. What you saw on Sunday. What's going on. Don't talk Super Bowl yet. My goodness, it's week 8. Good Lord. And yeah, like and some of these teams with and NBA too. NBA just came up there like, good, come on. Just shut up. Shut up. We're week 5 or week 6, bro. Shit. Or like we're 5 games into the NBA. We're not even week 1 in. They're talking NBA championship maybe. What the Lakers can do. I mean, goddamn. Like, can we just clap it up for A. Reeves real quick for 51? Shit. Calm down.
Reasons,
Anyways.
but mainly he lost his locker room, he lost his fan base, and the school had no other option. It sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, but in the world of college football, there is no next chance. We've seen that too many times, and when James Franklin can go for 50 million and Kelly for 54, it means that nobody is safe anymore. Nobody in college football. What's really interesting about this is that the man who hired Brian Kelly at LSU, Scott Woodward, and who's now on the lam for this 54 million, also hired Jimbo Fisher.
And the thing is, like, oh my gosh, bro. Like, the thing is, it just says, like, okay, it just says 54 million. Okay, he's getting paid 54 million. But then when you look at the reports, guys, like, he's getting paid 800K a month. When you put it like that, it just, like, gotta take a deep breath and just accept that one, you know? Just like, damn. He's getting paid 800K a month, y'all. To leave, to not do anything, 800K a month. They chose, I guess there was like not a buyout, but like a lump sum that he could have chose, and he was just like, no, I'm not taking a lump sum. Why? You know, I would have, I don't know. Shit, and then there was, pictures of him at the bar or a restaurant in Baton Rouge. I mean, my goodness, the balls do you have to do to that? Like, shit. All the poisonous food or some shit. You would have been sick for 54, and you would have been in the hospital rich, bitch. No, I'm playing, but anyway.
At Texas A&M and had to pay him $76 million. I doubt Scott Woodward's heading to Wall Street anytime soon, people.
Paul, thank you.
Who?
Let me go, Cam. Cam, let me go here first,
Yep.
please. Paul, first
You
things
said
first.
Scott somebody?
Who's this athletic director that hired both Jimbo Fisher and Brian Kelly? Put up his name, please. What's
His
his
name
name?
is Scott Woodward.
Oh,
Scott Woodward.
Scott
We
Woodward.
need a
Okay.
mugshot put on national television right now of that man's face. Cam Newton.
Paul be like, he be fake laughing. Like, he probably really hates Stephen A, but like, his check get bigger because he gotta appear on there and everything. He be like, Stephen A, you don't know shit. Anyway.
Yes, sir.
$76 million buyout.
But let me just say that I do think Stephen, when it comes to everything else, Stephen A. does know his stuff on NBA, a little bit NFL. NBA since his bread and butter, because the story of him and Iverson. Iverson got him where he was covering Iverson. He worked for Philadelphia Times or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, that's how he got the start at ESPN and called Kwame Brown a bum and all that. But Stephen A. does do he's good when it comes to certain things. So just when it comes to college sports, I'm not a fan.
Associated with a $54
Look at
million
that
buyout.
dumbass laugh on Paul.
Ladies and gentlemen, that equates to
And
$130 million.
just look at Cam Newton look like the fucking scarecrow over here, bro. Good lord.
Two coaches hired by the same man are being paid not to coach anymore. I need to see a picture of that man. Because if that were a player, we'd be calling him out. Okay? The same applies to the athletic director. I'm sorry, Scott. I'm quite sure you're a very, very capable man. I'm not advocating for you to be fired, but you owe somebody else some damn money because you should be giving some of your money back. How the hell you justify that? Who gets to make those kind of mistakes? Who gets to do something like that? $130 million?
I mean, shit. The most winningest coach. You have resumes. I get it. I get it. There were big mistakes. You gave the money away, but look at Jimbo. winning coach in Florida State, just came off a chip. Who else are you gonna hire at the time? Maybe that has a championship and everything. I don't know. I forget why Jimbo left Florida State. I don't know what the reason was. I guess it was ugly. Um, People say it was his like feud with Saban. He wanted to be in the SEC. You know, it was tougher. Maybe he recruit, whatever the case may be. I don't know, but should have never left Florida State, in my opinion. If that was his only will doing, not being fired, you know. So
And 2 buyouts for 2 coaches not to coach anymore? I mean, my
hmm.
God, that's bad. That's bad. Now, having said that, let me say this. I like Brian Kelly. I think that I've had the pleasure of interviewing him on a couple of occasions.
See, that's where you're wrong, Stephen A. That's where you just. I like Brian Kelly. Are you serious? Like, do we know? Do you know what the man has done? Do you know what former players have said about this man? Like, no, what have they not said about this man? You haven't heard any Notre Dame players talk about him. I haven't heard any Notre Dame players. I've heard LSU players, say they haven't cared for him. Um, that Brooks situation makes it hurts my head really. I hate how people like that's not how you treat a person at all after a situation like that. In any case. Yeah, it's just sad situation, but when you hear things like that and then you say you like a person, like you just have to take in all accounts. I don't forget. Yeah, I hope y'all watching this don't forget either. Don't forget anything, don't forget history, we don't have to get into it, but just, you know, learn all that all the good stuff, all the great.
My career, one-on-one. I think that the man can coach football. He was in the wrong place. And this is what Cam has been preaching about to all of us for
Can
quite
he
some
coach
time.
football?
The
He can
SEC ain't
he
for
can probably
everybody.
find talent
This man messed
and
up
coach
when
it.
he was introduced to people at an LSU basketball game, for crying out loud. He messed up before spring training, before spring practices started. Okay? We understand all of that. But when you look at his record, when you consider what he's supposed to bring to the
There was reports of him not, showing up to well, he showed up somewhere else besides recruiting everywhere. He was out in Florida partying, well not partying, just chilling on the beach, kicking back, looking at the waters of Miami.
table, let's understand, not only was he losing 34-14 record over 4 seasons, doesn't appear that bad, 71% winning percentage, of course, but when you look at what his record was against SEC teams, 19-10 in SEC games, 5-11 versus ranked opponents, 0 college football berths in your 4th year when the 3 people who succeeded you, Ed Orgeron, Nick Saban, Les Miles, all won a national championship by their 4th year. We're talking about Death Valley. We're talking about LSU, okay? We're talking about the home of our boys Ryan Clark and Swagoo and all of this other stuff,
He
right?
right here.
And that's what you have. And then you get blown out, give up 35 points in the second half on your own turf, where who would have ever thought we would see half the stadium there emptied? That's what happened in the 3rd quarter. Half the damn stadium was gone. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. I grabbed binoculars that I got in my house to look at my own damn TV. I couldn't believe it. And then I was like, this happened at LSU. That's what he had to go right there. I knew in the 3rd quarter it was.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Let's get into that a little bit, but cause the Brian Kelly firing, y'all. I thought that was gonna happen next week. Honestly, I didn't think he was gonna get fired. Like the day after. But then when you look back at it, when I was thinking about it, you know, like you can't have LSU can never look like that ever, ever. Death Valley can never look empty, and the governor, probably the ads, the sponsors, and people who give money to the school, and all that. They're probably like, hey, like we this shit can't go on, you know. So yeah, man, like They were just like, it had to be there. The governor said it had to be right then and there, man. So you can never have it empty. And what that could lead to 5 years down the road and all that, like 10 years down the road, like if because if he were the coach, next week or whatever, what would the stadium look like next week or the week after, or so there's like, yeah, because right now, like after people are going to show up now because they made the right decision. So
was over. It was a wrap. So I'm just saying, this kind of stuff has to happen. They're sending a message. It's the right message because it shows you making money hand over foot. Don't tolerate
Cam Newton looked like the scarecrow. My goodness, bro.
mediocrity. The standard is the standard. And I get that, but in the end, he had to go. But I'm saying that athletic
Good
director,
Lord.
if it would
Scarecrow over
listen,
there.
the producers are being nice. Even though I'm the EP, I'm not gonna push it.
Happy
But I did ask for a
Halloween.
picture of that damn athletic director. You understand? His name and his picture. $130 million scheme. $130 million. You paying two coaches not to coach. That's on this man's clock. We need to know who the hell he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So let me interject real quick, and this is not necessarily a message or a discussion point about Brian Kelly, more so than it is a warning. You must understand when you go to the top tier or a tier 1 team in the SEC, and I'm not talking about a tier 1 team by merely talent, skill set, or anything like that. I'm talking about tier 1 as far as budget allocations. When you talk about an LSU, when you talk about a University of Florida, when you're talking about an Alabama, when you're talking about a UGA, those tier 1 budgeted schools in the SEC, and there are more, mediocrity or mediocre coaching will not be tolerated. You must understand that. So anybody who wants to insert their
It's late. It's late, but I kind of want to get into that. So kind of the mediocre coaching. That's probably what Ed Orgeron was doing a little bit. It's probably why he got fired. Saban. Well, I wouldn't say Saban was doing mediocre coaching, but he has 6 championships, and he was doing the recruiting and everything like that. And Ed Orgeron, what is he known for? Recruiting. And that's what I want to get into a little bit. Like, what does recruiting mean? Like if I had to interview Ed Orgeron or whatever, like what did you do for people to say like you're one of the best recruiters, and what do people like? What makes Dan Mullen not a good recruiter or whatever? Like for people to say he wasn't a good recruiter, like what goes into it? Like, do you sell them the playbook? Do you sell them the lifestyle you're gonna have on campus? Um, the like what they're gonna give you. Is it money? Is it a car? Like so many things go into like, what makes a good team, or what like coaching, or what makes a good coach, really, like, in college football. So you have to be all those things. Like that's what Saban was. He would go to the houses of the kids and things like that. But dance with the kids, and I guess like other coaches wouldn't do that, but like how could you tell the real from the fake, I guess, and Saban, he doesn't really show it, I guess, because now he does like things on McAfee and things like that. I don't think he'll show that side of him, like what he was doing in the house, which is totally fine. Leave that off camera. That's what we love. Like I don't need to see everything. You know what I'm saying? Um, just hear the stories. Just let me hear a story. I don't need to see a camera in your face all the time, and we have to talk about what we saw on camera all the time either. What's understood don't gotta be said all the time. We all know this. Some people don't, but we need to remind them. Okay. So, but yeah, man, like what goes into being like a great coach or something, like mediocre coaching? What goes all into like the recruiting side to it? For these players, like NFL is different. I feel like college is just different, like what are you selling them on? Like I know now like it's a bag, it's NIL, but before, like because Ed Orgeron talks about getting Adrian Peterson or whatever, and he was just like yeah, like my dad, well, his dad was in jail, and that's why he went to Oklahoma, because his dad could see his games from jail, excuse me. So anyways, but yeah, Ed Orgeron was trying to he was trying to get his dad moved or something like that to LA or whatever. I'm like, God, like I get it, like that's how I don't know, like, cause see, like I get it, you all playing ball and stuff, but I don't know, like you have to really tell the real from the fake, and these kids they can really tell it. So, Jakeem Stewart picked right though. If you don't know about Jakeem, he turned down 1.2 from LSU and got 2 mil from a USC. So, you know, you know, I don't. I'm cool that we got the player, but my God, that is a bag. I think he's getting paid 2 mil a year. So I don't know. But anyways, let's see what Cam talking about.
Resume for a potential job interview. You must understand, if you don't have intentions to win, and I mean win yesterday, do not take that job, because this is what will happen. When you look at Brian Kelly.
See, what's gonna happen is some of them coaches, they gonna look for that bag instead of that job, okay? Because Brian Kelly, that's what I look at Lincoln Riley, okay? Lincoln Riley right now is the epitome of, what Cam's kind of talking about right now, because I feel like he looks at his job, the USC job cannot be looked at as a retirement job. They gave him what, like $80 million, $100 million, gave him 2 houses, a private jet, maybe 2, some side hoes on the side, whatever, Figueroa, some property. But it's just like, I feel like he looks at it as a retirement job, so because he works on his offense. He's really good on the offense, but it's just like your defense, bro. 4 years, 4 freaking years. The defense is not fixed, and you're just like, okay, let's have D'Anthony Lynn just fix it or whatever. And he doesn't want to do anything about it. I don't know who we had before, but my goodness, like if we don't get it fixed at Nebraska, we're gonna get freaking our heads pounded in. Okay. But yeah, USC is basically what Cam's talking about, because these coaches in the SEC, they can't, just because they're giving out millions of dollars. I don't know, like that fan base, make it hell for them. If the coach isn't bringing up to par, coaching isn't recruiting up to standard, isn't recruiting the state up to standard too, because the state knows the players, who's coming out and everything like that. So, yeah.
Kelly's overall record versus the SEC, 34-14. Now, some would say, well, he was okay. That's mediocre. The thing that Coach DeBoer has really figured out over.
Another point about USC, I'm about to let him go. Like, we can't be okay with mediocre either. We can't be okay with 8-4 or whatever. Losing in Eugene, losing in Notre Dame every year, and just saying, okay, we're gonna get him next year. We're gonna get him next year, because that shit ain't going. Shit. At some point, next year ain't next year. It has to be now.
In Alabama is saying that, we have to win football game. It's not even we gotta win. We have to win. It's life or death, and we need to start playing with a sense of urgency. Brian Kelly's demeanor ever since walking into, the Bayou State has always been a little lax, a little, that's not what the SEC represents. Especially when you look at the likes of a Nick Saban, who's coached there, Ed Orgeron, who's coached there, LS Miles. They had attitude. Their teams were violent, and they stood on something. So the next person who thinks about coaching LSU or any Tier 1 team in the SEC,
like that.
You
know
can't
what
play
he's talking
around.
about. When people get fired, they know what they're talking about. But when it comes to the X's and O's, They get
Now's
a
the
little,
time for a
oh,
great deal on a
shit,
new Honda
because
from the Kelly Blue Book Best Value brand.
first week or
Buy
whatever when
online, reserved from select dealers,
when
or hurry into your local Honda
Kalen
dealer
DeBoer
today.
got fired, he was talking about Deion Sanders
The
to
future is
Alabama.
worth fighting for because our nation is worth
Look at that
believing
now,
in.
Stephen A.
Together,
Look
we
at
answer
Deion
America's
Sanders now,
call
buddy.
to win.
Okay.
We are Marines. We were made for this.
Well, the
Yeah,
other
I
thing,
see,
before
man.
we get back to you, Paul, my producers, evidently they remember who the hell I am, and they have what I requested. Put that up on the screen. That's him right there.
No
That's it right
way.
They
That's
dug
that right
for
there.
that photo.
What's his name again, Paul? Tell him his name. Tell him his name,
Scott
Paul.
Woodward.
Scott Woodward.
Woodward.
I want Scott Woodward to know I'm not advocating for you to be fired, sir.
Scott
It's
Woodward,
not.
the
I'm
GOAT.
not saying that you don't deserve your job or
Getting
anything like that.
paid out here,
But
y'all.
if it were a player or even an owner, somebody that is paying $130 million to a dude not to play, we would know who the hell he is and
I
what he
mean, not
looks
the
like.
coach, not the
That's
play.
what comes with the job. Respectfully.
We know what you mean.
You
though.
can't
We
do
know what
that.
you
You
mean.
can't be an athletic director in that position. And you got back-to-back. Like, these are.
But if you have that type of money, if you're LSU, what are you gonna do? He's the most winningest coach in college football history. I mean, if he's desiring that bag, if he's going that at that rate, I mean, Lincoln Riley just got signed for 80 million. I think probably the same time around Brian Kelly. Am I wrong? It's like both 4 years in, right? Both on their fourth year, I think. So I mean, if you're both a powerful top five school. I mean, Texas A&M top five. I mean, Power Five school. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? If you have the bag, you probably have to give it up. If they have the resume, you have to give it up. Like your next coach, I mean, you might go smaller, go get the defensive coordinator from Lions, Kelvin Shepard. I think his name is Kelvin Shepard. He's a dog. We've seen his clips from Hard Knocks. They said their defense looks better this year at the Lions. So I mean, he's gonna come in there and change the culture for sure. Um, yeah, like I wouldn't go because if you go try to get Marcus, you're gonna get. Yeah, I mean, you might get a chip, but you gonna come out of pocket for sure. So I don't want to hear about the Power Five schools talking about like, oh, you need to be fired for giving out these bags. I think you just need to figure out the right coach, because like Brian Kelly, if he was elsewhere like Penn State and still got the bag, okay, fine. Like, but you're at LSU, so it's just like the fit was never there. Like you should have never really been hired at LSU. So it's like, you know, like uh, like yeah, he should have never really been fired. So it's just like, what do you do? Like, I mean, he should have never been hired. So
The two largest buyouts in college football history. Am I right about that, Paul? Am I right about that?
You, you are correct.
You can't get around it. Paul, floor is yours. You can't get around it. Can't get around it.
Yeah, he's the second
Well,
largest
by the way,
buyout.
Scott Woodward has hired a number of national championship coaches at LSU, so he is very competent. He just
Fine.
What happened with Brian Kelly, he did to himself, Stephen A. Remember, Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame. He played for the national championship in 2012 against Alabama, only lost by 28 points. He played in the playoff 2 other times. But he
ETA.
left Notre Dame on day one. In addition to the terrible accent, he's from Boston. He said, "I'm going to LSU from Notre Dame to win a national championship." And we all know what happened at LSU. He never got to the playoffs.
But it's like, how do you belittle like even as a SC fan, I respect I don't respect Notre Dame, like actually. I respect Marcus Freeman because I love Marcus Freeman. I love Marcus Freeman. Shout out Marcus Freeman out here. Um, but yeah, like like how you gonna belittle them though? Like everybody knows Notre Dame can win a championship. I mean, We just saw him last year, go to the chip, see what the linemen they produce and everything like that. The receivers are decent. The defense is outstanding. I mean, my God, if Lincoln could produce, Jesus Christ. If Lincoln could just do enough, just like teeny bit of the defense of the heart Notre Dame had on defense, my goodness. Offense, we're fine, okay? We might have beat them by 40. I mean, by 2 touchdowns if we had Waymo on it. Don't quote me on that, but so
And at Notre Dame last year, Marcus Freeman, who was his assistant, took Notre Dame to the national championship game, and that really hurt him badly.
Which is why if you're LSU, your first call should be to somebody like a Lane Kiffin. Your second call should be to Marcus Freeman, even though he ain't gonna be inclined to leave. No,
I wouldn't even see like Lane. It's low key. Lane is the same thing as Brian Kelly. Does he even fit? Does he even fit in Baton Rouge? He's outspoken, but he's like, it's on the edge. Um, is he like if he says "Go Tigers"? Are you gonna think of somebody else than what's it? Than Lane Kiffin? Are you gonna think of Ed Orgeron? You know. So I think it's gonna be the same thing with Brian Kelly. Are you gonna view him as he's trying to be somebody as he's not? Is he trying to be younger, than what he is? Because I guess Lane is 50 now. I didn't know that. Lane getting older, but I'll call my first call would probably be to Marcus Freeman, and then Nick Saban, then Jimbo, then Kelvin Shepherd, and then Kelvin Shepherd's gonna take the job, and then yeah, that's what I'll do.
Notre Dame. It should be to Marcus Freeman. Those are two names that come up. I'm mad that I can't say my man Prime Time because it would have been nice to say him, but Colorado's struggling right now. But the other thing I want to say about this, and I hand it to you, Cam.
Goodness, we get it, T. Like he's your friend, okay? But my goodness, you see what he even did there? Y'all catch that? Yeah, y'all catch that? Do I need to? I think I do. He still pointed out Deion, even though what are you doing, bro? You still pointed out Deion for the LSU job. Oh, point my man out Deion, but he's losing right now. Nigga, you still did, stupid. That's why I don't. Yeah, go back to the beginning of the video, y'all. Y'all know.
Because I know you got something to say real quick. Scott Woodward, here's the deal. I'm not saying you should be fired. I want to be very, very clear about that. I'm not advocating for his dismissal because, Paul, like you said, he's hired a couple of national championship coaches. But it's fair to say this, Paul. The man certainly shouldn't be looking for a raise anytime soon. Is that fair to say? I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
He should be looking for a raise.
Listen, I think the hottest person right now is Lane Kiffin, but I will be questionable to take that job if I'm Lane Kiffin because you will be chasing somebody else's greatness at any of the schools that are vacant. You will all.
Let's see. At Florida, I mean, he's kind of chasing it, but he can still submit his own legacy. Ole Miss, it's never been a made school ever. So, it's not like, a blue blood or nothing like that. So, he'll have the statue. If he wins at Ole Miss, he'll have the statue.